Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show, brought to you by Bet365. Avs taking on the Kraken for the second time this season tonight. They're at home. They're undefeated there. But Ivan Prosvetov getting the start. It's a choice. I don't know how I feel about it. Felt like you had St. Louis this weekend.
Ask me again in 4 hours.
Yeah, okay. Once you know the result of the game, you'll have a feeling about it. Fair enough.
Yep.
It's always easier that way.
Because it's like, I disagree with it. Very clearly, I'm out, right? I don't want to do that.
To me, again, it's if you want to give them a start, the St. Louis game is right there.
Yeah.
You know St. Louis has not been very good this year. It seemed pretty easy a choice to me. But,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I also understand where Bednar's coming from, where he's like, hey, there have been some games.
Sure.
You know, Georgiev hasn't had a really good game
In a minute, for sure.
in a couple weeks now.
Even their last win, he gives up 3, and you
Yeah.
don't love 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, if he doesn't give up that second goal, honestly, and they win that game 6-2,
Feel better about
he
it.
probably plays today.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that he would play today.
Yep. I think
So,
that's a fair argument.
I think they're probably just saying, hey, look, he played well for us. We don't want to go too long because that St. Louis game was, last Wednesday?
Yeah.
So
it's been over a week.
yeah, so if they were to get to Saturday, you're talking about this guy hasn't played now in 10 days. You got away with it once against the Blues. Are you really going to get away with it twice? I don't know. So
Either way,
yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
you're hoping for a good performance in front of him, I would say. Safe to say. But
For sure, looking for that.
no official lineups yet. I think warm-ups are probably just starting. So we'll see exactly what Riley Tufte's role is tonight. But Riley Tufte is back with the team. May or may not be getting another game tonight. Where are you at with the Avs? I don't want to say chemistry because we're about to talk about that later. But are you
Yeah, it's
comfortable with the rotation that the Avs are now employing with essentially Drouin, Tatar, and Tufte at this point?
No?
Okay.
Yes. I mean,
Indifferent, kind of?
I think that the reasoning that Bednar gave today of Tufte, you know, with the whole, we're going to be playing against a bigger team, so we want a bigger guy. Okay, but Riley Tufte doesn't play a big game. Like, regardless of how you feel about that first game that he played, I know that I'm the hater here, but that's
just
not who he is.
Stylistically.
Yeah, that's not who he is. So I think that's, for me, I'm like, yeah, he's 6'6". He is physically a large human. This is all very true. I guess the hope is that he has one of those games where he taps into it and he looks good and whatever, you know. And he was good enough in that first game that I think they were probably itching to be like, okay,
Justify a few more looks type thing.
like let's start. We want to really start getting this guy back into the lineup, and we really like him. We want to try this out. Drouin and Tatar both. Neither one of them have done anything to say,
really lock that spot down.
To demand, like, you cannot take this guy out of the lineup.
Sure. I think that's fair. Well,
this is fake, right?
yes, completely fake. Anyway, Big E is over in Toronto right now, but he was kind enough to record some keys of the game for us before he left. So let's hit that.
All right. Key number 1, don't be stubborn versus the Kraken. You got stubborn last year in the playoffs. Again, we're not going to get back to last year, but I already played them this year. Don't be stubborn. You know they take away the middle of the ice. If it's not there, it's not there. Go play below the goal line in the offensive zone. And again, don't be so stubborn between the two blue lines. Control the game. You're the better team. Just go and execute. Number 2, passion, passion, passion. Lots of passion yesterday in that game 2 days ago versus the New Jersey Devils. Follow suit. Keep going. Keep it up. It was an awesome effort. Starting to get some ground there at home. Do it for the guy next to you. I felt that there was a lot of passion between the guys. It resulted in a big win. Number 3, build on last game. Build on it. Bob the Builder, right? Home dominance. it's still a little bit of a revenge factor there against the Kraken. It's got that fire's got to be in your belly. You want to have that sense of killer instinct. String some wins like they did at the start of the year. It was a great step yesterday against the Devils, or 2 days ago against the Devils. Make Ball Arena rock again tonight.
Eric talking about the revenge factor there. I don't know if I believe it's still a revenge factor.
I do.
You think so? Even with Eberle out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially because they do play 3 times.
They get him again on Monday, I think it is.
They get him again Monday. So they have 3 times the first handful of games of the season. If they played in like February, we wouldn't still be talking about the playoff series last
quite a
year.
bit at that point, yeah.
But I do think that the Avs should still look at them and be like, nah, we're not
You ain't
okay
it,
with
fam.
this.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
And also, I mean, can we score the first goal?
It's been a while since
I didn't go back and look
potted
at their
one.
regular season matchups last year to check, but I know for sure it's at least 8 straight games that the Kraken have scored first.
Yep. 8 straight there. And you look at the Avs' recent history. I can't remember if they scored first against St. Louis. But other than that, you have the 3 shutout games, which they obviously didn't score first in.
Yeah.
And then they didn't score first the other night against New Jersey either. So
It has been a bit of an issue this season. There have been a handful of games. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked. They've been such a wonderful third period team that it's really
hasn't been that big of a deal. For
and
sure.
you would, of course,
if you're picking
absolutely,
one.
you're saying please be best at your best in the third period. We'll take mediocre firsts.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that you can be chasing games. Teams talk about it every day in the NHL.
Yep.
You can't chase games in this league and be consistently successful. Within the game that you're in, you get down 1-0. You can obviously still win that game. But if you do it every night, you do it more often than not, it is hard to win.
There's a reason over a large sample size, the team who scores first wins like 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
Like, the math adds up on that one. It's hard to come back consistently in the NHL. Just is.
Yep.
And honestly, even the part we've been so happy about the third periods, when the Avs have been at their best in third periods, is when they're playing from ahead.
Yeah, the tied and from ahead,
Yep.
they have been awesome.
Behind,
Not
as much.
The 3 shutouts, we'll just bin those.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you did see
The San Jose game is what
the
it is.
San
but
Jose game. Yeah, it's not really much. to
kind
go
of
off
its own
Yeah.
area there for sure. But I did want to come back to the lines and specifically the Colton Wood O'Connor line.
Yeah.
First of all, Colton gets max fine, doesn't get an extra game or anything for the nonsense against Meyer.
I can't believe how I feel about that whole situation. That at all turns, I think they got it right.
I too was like, even a broken clock, man. Sometimes,
Dude, it was like the broken clock was right 3 times in rapid succession. And it was like, this is a pretty good broken clock.
I'm checking the clock too much at that point, I think. But is that becoming a fixture? Are you seeing Logan O'Connor stick on that third line for the foreseeable future at this point?
I think I just feel like it has to for at least a little while.
Okay.
You know, I understand that makes it hard. That inflexibility will make it a
Sure.
little harder.
Especially for a team like the Avs who loves to shake that stuff up. But
And we've talked, why did Andre Pavel make sense as the call-up for Olofsson?
'cause he's a grinder type.
Yeah, because he plays on that 4th line. That's not really what you want Riley Tufte to do.
I agree.
But it's not what you want Tomas Tatar or Jonathan Drouin to do either.
That's true.
And so it's kind of a, who are you putting next to Cogliano and Olofsson?
Yeah. Doesn't feel like there's a great fit no matter what.
It feels like if it's Tatar, it's buried and like it doesn't fit the identity there, and you're just kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And if it's Tufte, it's really the same thing because he's playing next to a couple of guys that want to crash and bang, and that's how they roll.
Yeah.
That's not how he's going to roll on a consistent basis. I'm not saying he can't do it in a game, but consistently, it's never been who he is in his career.
He doesn't do it very often in a game.
No. If he did, he'd be in the NHL full time. As like a, he would not have
There'd
been.
be no doubts, yeah.
He would not. He would have had his own press release when he signed. Not
Also this guy.
Riley Tufte, Corey Schooneman, and Jack Ashawn.
Yeah.
And Arvid Holm. we've signed these AHL guys, right? Like he would have had his own. Because 6'6" guys that can do that stick.
I don't think it's complicated.
Right.
You don't have to rely on skill if you play that type of game as much. I obviously have to have some, but
yeah, it's got to exist.
Is there any thought to floating a Nichushkin or a Lehkonen, not to the fourth line, but into that Logan O'Connor spot then?
Not right now for me, because the LOC thing has gone so well.
Sure.
And if LOC can continue to hang there and it keeps looking the way that it does, kind of lost in the third line was great the other day, was that was one of LOC's worst games of the year.
It was, yeah. On an individual level. Anyway,
exactly.
But.
And so if you're like, hey, that line was still really successful, even though LOC wasn't really a part of it, it's a really good sign.
Yeah.
Because you know that he's going to have those strong games. He just needs to, if he does it at the same time as those guys, I want to leave them together. But we also know LOC, fourth line, third line, both of those lines, when he's been a part of them, have been their most successful iterations of those lines. You can only put them on one.
Can we split him?
I guess you could just play him.
He's about to play 18 minutes a night, back-to-back shifts all night.
You can play him. You can play him both.
Just stay out there, bud.
So, I'm with LOC. Like, I would like to leave him there now, but when they do want to change it up sometime, I would consider.
It just seems like Lehkonen and Nichushkin would make the most sense to drop down.
Absolutely. And I would consider that, because then you're putting Drouin or Tatar consistently into that spot. Those two guys have moved around a lot.
They have.
And that is a really hard. It's hard for those guys to really get going when you're not in a consistent space.
Not the same scenario, but how many times did we talk about that with Alex Newhook last year?
Totally.
Every
year it seems like they do this they have like one guy, two guys, and they really struggle to figure it out. Where are they working? Where do they fit? You remember, we look at it the way that we do now, but it didn't work with Arturi Lehkonen on day one.
Nope.
It took a little bit of time to figure it out. Because remember, he started on the third line.
Was not a day one first liner, absolutely.
And if I think that if you were to do that, if you were to put in a Nichushkin or a Lehkonen on the third line, it's not a traditional third line anymore of, hey, we're going to play these guys like 13 minutes.
You're 15,
You're
16,
probably 15, 16, splitting it evenly with Ryan Johansson's line.
Yeah.
And, that's your defensive zone faceoffs. You're really leaning on that group a lot more heavily than you would a normal third line.
I think
certainly
that's fair.
Any third line the Avs have had in the last handful of years, even including the Cup team. Because you remember, I point this out to people all the time who are like, oh, that team's forward core was insane. Nicolas Aube-Kubel played in game 1, round 1 of that postseason. On the third line.
It's an interesting dichotomy, because on that same line you had Andrei Burakovsky, which you're like, this is a crazy third liner. Yeah. But as a whole, there were some imbalance in talent. I'll put it that way.
Down really quickly.
Yeah.
There was a really big gap between a very, very good second line.
Yep.
And the bottom six.
Yeah. We'll see exactly how it shakes out. I am curious to see where Tufte's time on ice does end up on a night like tonight, how those things shake out. If he's having another good night, will Bednar reward him with more like a 10 to 12 minutes? If he's having a bad night, do we see him play 5?
Riley Tufte's going to score tonight, and Avs Twitter is going to lose his mind.
It probably will if he does score one. But Twitter's very hyped on Tufte. We'll put it that way. It'll be interesting. I do think the Avs, you would like to see maybe a more well-rounded game out of the team as a whole, both with, getting some of those forward lines rolling, but also play quality defense. Don't make any of those unbelievably bad mistakes that they've been a little bit too prone to so far this year.
This is the team, nothing free.
Yep.
This is the exact archetype of a team, nothing free. Make them earn it.
Yep.
Because we've seen when they have to absolutely earn it and you don't just hand them odd man rushes and easy opportunities, they struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They're 4-6-3 right now. They've won 4 of their 13 games.
Don't give them number 5.
Yeah.
And they Yeah, you put it correct. Make them earn it if they're going to beat you.
Yep.
And they probably won't. On a talent level, the Avs are just a more talented hockey team.
For sure. That said, dude, you can't take away the fact that these teams have played a lot of games against each other the last 2 years, and they are all dogfights.
Yep. None are easy. That's for sure.
They are. The Avs just don't blow these guys out. And especially with Ivan Prosvetov in net, I am not predicting any kind of an Avs runaway in this. It would be great. I just don't see it.
I am also not predicting a runaway, but I do got a couple of bets on the game that we can run down here. Going with no goal in the first 10, I do feel like tonight might be a pretty low-scoring game. And that's a way to get plus money. So we went with that. I took it one step further with the first period tie at plus 260. But 1-1 also functions for that bet if things go that way. So
2-2, 4-4, 3-3.
if it's 4-4 in the first period, bud,
Then it might be a game in which Ivan Prosvetov and Philip Grubauer were the starting goaltenders.
yeah, not wrong. Not wrong. And then I didn't even see my last bet. I've already forgotten it.
It was under 5.5.
Yeah, okay. So in line with that
Yep.
that style of game.
Very solid theme here. Low scoring all the way.
Low-scoring hockey game.
I like it, man.
Well, look, this is kind of the type of game I think both of these two teams want to play. The Avs have Prosvetov in net. They don't want him to be challenged very much, regardless of whether he plays well or not. And Seattle has learned pretty quickly over the last 2.5 years that Philip Grubauer probably don't want to give up too many shots for him either. So
Yeah, that's not a guy that's going to lock it down too much.
I think you're going to see two quality skating teams out there try and limit opportunities as much as anything else. Now,
Yep.
maybe the Avs drop 4 on him in the first period. Who's to say? They
Yeah.
have that level of talent. But
If it goes 4-0 for Seattle, I'll be pretty frustrated.
it'd be a quick yank on Prosvetov if that happens, I think. But
Yeah.
we'll see either way. I take a look at this Kraken team, and I just wonder if they're starting to feel a little bit of the frustration. After a year where they were 1 game away from going to the Western Conference Final, and now they're a sub-500 hockey team.
Yeah, I mean, we are not surprised because this was the most obvious
Regression ever, but
you shot 10% last year at 5v5?
yeah.
That's happened 6 times in 15 years or something. And all but one of those teams had hit a brick wall the next year.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
but even with the numbers there, as a team, I'm sure it's frustrating to not be where they think they deserve to be.
Well, and if you're Colorado, you want to keep them down.
Absolutely.
We always talk about don't be the
Absolutely.
get-right team for
Yep.
somebody.
Yep.
But there's a little extra juice on this one because of the recent history. You don't want to be the team that they start to feel good against, and because you play them again on Monday.
Yep.
You go up, you win the season series tonight against those guys. You feel great.
Feel a lot better about having a chance to sweep instead of trying
Yeah.
to win the thing on Monday.
Exactly.
So,
And the Pacific Division sucks, so you need to keep them as down as you can for as long as you can.
on top of that, going back to Eric's keys, win 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
It's been a second since the Avs have won 2 games in a row.
definitely. And when you're on this homestand and you start to get into they play a lot of home games over the next
Protect
couple
the
of
house
weeks.
a little bit.
Yeah, you do want to, hey, they're undefeated at home. Yeah, okay, they won the first 2, and then they came back and they won one. They came back, they won another one. All right, string them together in a week, though.
Yep.
Put a good week together. You win tonight, you've won the week, no matter what happens on Saturday against St. Louis. Win the week.
Make your life easier.
Yeah, the second 10-game segment, get off to a 2-0 start. You're on your way to another good one.
I have nothing else to add. Any final thoughts from you, AJ?
Let's get out of here so we can get a grilled cheese before the watch along.
That's what I'm planning to do. We're going to get some food. We'll be back for the watch along. First, though, make sure you get over to Bet365 and use the DNVR 365 code to get amazing odds boosts and all sorts of other bonuses. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Other terms and restrictions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're wrapping up the pregame. Come join us for the watch along if that's your thing. If not, we hope to see you for the postgame. We'll break it all down no matter what happens. We will talk to you in a little bit.
We all silly like the mayor.
I don't know enough of the roster.
I was gonna say WWE female wrestlers.
I don't think Charlotte.
Redhead is hot.
Who's the redhead?
Becky.
Oh, Becky Lynch.
Yeah. What?
I don't think Charlotte Flair's that hot.
No, Charlotte Flair is like 40s SoCal mom.
Which is not
Not hot.
Wait, what? We got a mom? I bet she is hot.
There's some chicks in this league that have been around for.
Who's the mom?
Charlotte Flair.
So far, I don't think any of these.
It's Ric Flair's daughter. I don't even know. Yeah, I'd have
Alexa
to.
Bliss is cute.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just.
no, Alexa Bliss is hot for sure.
I think she's adorable. I don't know if she's hot. I think she's super
She's
cute.
not on the roster anymore, but whatever her name was, the boss girl's hot.
Yeah, Becky Lynch does it for me.
The Bella twins are pretty.
I don't know. Becky Lynch, it might just be the redhead thing.
It's like, nah, her hair's too, it's not dark enough. It needs to be darker.
I love her orange hair.
I think her character's fucking incredible.
Oh,
but I
dude.
don't think she's that hot.
Charlotte Flair?
Yeah. She's the mom hot.
Yeah, she has a really long nose. Like her head is just like really long, top to bottom.
That's like all the ones.
I don't know. Chelsea Green's kind of cute.
Rhea Ripley, yeah, she's not hot though.
I think she's fucking. She can step on me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Dakota Kai could do that to me.
Rhea Ripley is absolutely a dummy mom, but she's not that hot to me.
Yeah. Oh, Elton Prince is the dude from earlier.
The nipples guy?
Yeah. Yeah, this Asian girl's pretty cute too.
Naomi?
I don't. I'd already. Yeah, I don't know. I scrolled away.
Fuck your table.
Who is she?
That's Bailey.
She's all right.
Fuck your table. So on E, there used to be a reality show that was all about the female wrestlers, and I